How do I get interviews when employers are looking for people from certain groups? They seem candidates by asking, are you talking about like all the DEI kind of stuff? Listen, I don't get into political stuff, but not all employers are looking for that. And even the ones that purport to be looking for it sometimes aren't looking for that. So if you don't feel like playing that game, there's nothing that says that you do. The thing that I was just talking about, the hidden job market, where they're not posting the jobs, but the jobs are there. Usually that sidesteps a lot of official crap like this, where they want to hire somebody because they feel they're qualified or they're a fit or something, but there's some kind of official thing where they can't. There's, you can go around all that stuff. And most companies don't even have those kinds of rules anyway, at least in my experience. So you don't have to bow to that, because if it did, it would mean that you would be unemployable, right? That's the implication. If they claim they want certain types of people and you don't fit into that, even though you're qualified for the role, even though you've been in that role for years, but for whatever reason, they refuse to consider you for it. You know what I mean? Like, you can still get hired in that role. It's just that you have to go through, you have to look in different places for it. And the other thing that I've found the last few years is that as they've piled on the ridiculous sort of scrutiny of candidates, like somebody said earlier this stream, they were saying how whatever company I was it L'Oreal? They were saying that, in their opinion, L'Oreal was needing 12 job interviews to select one intern, Now, I don't know whether that's true or not, but I could believe it. There are some companies that are doing ridiculous things like that. And then in addition, they want video interviews, like screening interviews, where you record a video and you submit it, things like this. They're intentionally making the process very, very long. And sometimes what we've seen is that that's a strategic decision, because how I was saying that you can get 800 applicants apply for a role, right? You post one job, you get 800 applicants in a very short amount of time. One way that some companies are countering that is they're making the hiring process so lengthy and cumbersome. There's so many steps and there's so much work you got to do to apply for the job. That's intentional, because the logic that they're employing is that if you get to the end of that process, you must really care about that job. You can't be just applying casually, right? So they're intentionally doing that, and they're like making you jump through all these hoops. Once again, that's the posted job market. You can always go around it, and most people do. So if you're not going around it, then maybe it's time you start it. Kevin says, will not consider someone like me because of the way I look. I'm trying to get more qualifications to stand out, but even that does not seem to help much. Is there anything I can do? Yes, Kevin. Yes. The people that you've just described are a bunch of complete morons, okay? If they're not hiring you because of the way you look, that is the sign of a card-carrying moron, just so you know that, okay? Fortunately for you, not everybody is a moron who works at employers that are decision makers. You just need to connect with the people that, that don't have their head up their ass. And if that means going completely into the hidden job market, I'm assuming you're looking in the posted job market, and this is what you're encountering. Look in the hidden job market. Now, I just want to turn the tables on you for a second. Hopefully, when you say that they won't hire you for how you look, hopefully you actually know that, and you're not just assuming it, because you would not, if that is the case, you would not be the first person to incorrectly make that assumption. I've encountered that from a lot of people too, where they're just not qualified or as qualified as others, and so they don't get the job when they're put like head to head with other people. But then they conclude, oh, you must have not given it to me because of how I look, right? And that's false, right? Some people make that connection. They do that. They just assume it, and that's something for you to encounter. You know what I mean? Like, look at me, for example. I'm overweight, right? That's pretty obvious. Some people when they look at you, they see you for the first time, you may make a bad impression if you look like me, and yes, I know, I strongly suspect that there's been some people that have made that determination about me. But you know what? That's only a few people, and a lot of other people, they make their decisions based on real factors like results. So there will always be people that will judge you for whatever crazy reason, and that's fine. Life is a game of ignoring them and associating with the people that won't judge you unfairly. You know what I mean? And that way you can still prosper. Okay, so I mean, there you go. I guess that falls under the moniker of life lesson, which I'm not good at giving out to people, nor do I really want to. But look, Kevin, if this is what you're encountering, that's certainly not everyone that's doing that. I know that for a fact. So start by looking in the hidden job market and go from there. When people talk to you and they see that you know your stuff and you're easy to get along with and you're very friendly and you're a clear communicator and you present yourself professionally, they don't care what you look like. Talk to those people.